Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And I begin with the question from Honorable Naisula Lesuda. She wanted to know how I would be able to convince Cabinet. I think the first thing that we need to appreciate is that this ministry, even though new, it holds the road to prosperity. In fact, if I'm allowed, I would say we will rediscover our prosperity. If we want to prosper, then we need to invest in this particular ministry. Not only mining, but even the other aspects of blue economy and maritime affairs. Kenya's international trade, 90% is done in the ocean. So if 90% of our international trade is in the ocean, then definitely this is a very important aspect that we will need to put on the table to be able to fund. If you hear the figures, even though we don't want to say that they are genuine, about the minerals in the different parts of the country, then you know very well that this is an area we will need to support. And I'm not just going to convince Cabinet, but I'll be coming to this House also to convince you. And I'm happy that apart from asking for the budget, I will also come to this House to account. So I think it's a very fair discussion that we work together to make sure that we inspire prosperity in this ministry. Secondly, you talked about the insecurity in your region, and the suspicion is that there are minerals and other resources. You know, Honorable Chairman, if we are able to quantify what we have where, if we are able to determine how we share, because I'm sure all this insecurity is because people want a pie of the cake. But once we know, in Samburu, for example, we have this mineral here, we have this, and the quantities, and we have a good royalty formula backed by an operationalization through regulation, then I'm sure we should be able to convince warring parties that, okay, you don't need to fight, because after all, you have your share. But you know, some of these issues are also caused by people who have interests, who never want to see peace in that region because they want to be explorers all the time. So the only way is for government to provide leadership, the ministry to provide leadership to make sure that we have a total control of our resources in the country.
Environment.
The issue of environment, I think once a license is issued, one of the conditions is that whoever is going to invest, they have also to show how they are going to take care of environment. So I think it will be the responsibility of the ministry to enforce that. Because even before they do any other thing, they have to do an EMA report. But when they are confirmed, they have also to do an action plan on how they are going to take care of environment. So I think that is something that can be done. Mheshimiwa Rahab talks about the actions that we will be able to do to make sure that we benefit from revenues and profits from minerals. I think, Honorable Chairman, there are quite a number of legislation that we will be coming here to propose. I give an example of cement. You know, cement in this country, clinker is being imported from India and Egypt. But when you go to Garissa, you have gypsum. When you go to Kitui, you have limestone. When you go to all these places, limestone is not an issue. So I think what we need to do is to have a policy on value addition and processing, so that whatever we have in our country, then we don't need to import. And I think one way of getting maximum profit is to make sure that we add value and we process. There is no reason why the private sector is importing tons and tons of clinker from Egypt, from India, and other countries. If we can give incentives And one incentive is to declare those areas that have gypsum like Garissa, Kitui, limestone, and other areas, we declare them export processing zone, so that the investor investing in that area does not have to incur other inhibiting taxes. And I think that can give us leverage in terms of benefiting from minerals. Decommissioning aspect, I think, as I mentioned, when somebody gets a license to mine, when the period expires, then they are supposed to have an action plan on how they leave site and how they handle the issues of environment. Mheshimiwa Gikaria, this airborne report is there, but it's not complete. And even if it is completed, you know what it only shows are reds. For example, if you overfly a certain area with iron ore, it will indicate a red. We need money to go back to do ground truthing, where now our people go to the ground to establish the real quantities in those areas. Right now, the airborne survey will only show you we have gold here, we have this one here, but they will not show you the economic value of those minerals. So I think we need a budget to be able to go down and make sure that we have specific information. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Salim. Just one or two questions and comments.